and welcome to another video about American Royals by Katharine McGee. I have posted a video reviewing this book already, so I will go ahead and link that in the description somewhere. I'm new to this, so bear with me. This is not meant to be a review video. This is literally just a bunch of clips of me reacting as I have read the book. However, I made the novice mistake of recording everything with my phone like this instead of like this. So I apologize in advance for the poor video quality, but please just bear with me as I am learning. That is it. If you are looking for something that is more a review of this book, then go ahead and check out the video that I have already posted. I'll link it down below. If you are really just into seeing what somebody's initial first impressions and reactions to the content of the book are, then go ahead and stick around. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. I think it's really interesting that the author decided to go in the direction of, like, had George Washington actually become king instead of just the first president, that the political parties would have remained the Democratic Republicans versus the Federalists, and those are the two, so far, political parties that are most prevalent. Okay, so I finished the first chapter, and again, I don't really know anything about the story. I just don't have any spoilers or anything. But based off of the build-up of the first chapter, I'm gonna guess that based on the focus that they've placed on choosing between, like, your country and your heart, that Beatrice, the crown princess, is going to struggle in that department. And she's gonna end up falling in love not with somebody that her parents would have chosen for her, but with somebody that's more normal. And obviously that's gonna cause a ton of conflict. My guess is going to be that she decides to follow her heart because that's how these things typically go, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying it's kind of predictable. The only other person outside of her family that's been mentioned really by name thus far has been some bodyguard, I believe. His name was Connor or something. And trope-wise, if Connor, they described him as being a man, but I don't know, like, how old, if he's like her age or if he's like an older gentleman. So maybe it could be him. Based off of a lot of tropes, it would make sense for, you know, a princess to be taken in by her bodyguard and fall for him instead of one of these prince suitors, or not prince, but people from good, well-off families. It would just make more sense, but we'll see. Also, back to the first chapter, but I was kind of irritated by the talk about her reputation and how, like, she hadn't dated anyone. Growing up, she'd been really careful with that, and how when she was younger, people were praising her for her dedication and her reputation and staying pure and virtuous. And then as she got older, she started to look more at, like, a spinster, or if you haven't dated, then how can you truly know what you want? And I just kind of related to that. People put a lot of pressure on you all of a sudden to be dating people, and before that it was like a good thing to not be in a relationship, and it was kind of like a badge of honor. So I just kind of related to that and thought it was interesting, but it also, like, irritated me on her behalf. I have finished with chapter 2, and based off of this, my prediction is that whatever the thing happened at this graduation party that Nina keeps talking about or thinking about has to be between her and Prince Jeffrey? Jeff? Definitely keeps hinting, like, that she doesn't want to go to the palace because she's scared to see him, but she, like, also is really excited to see him, and she hasn't named who this him is, but it's gotta be the prince because she doesn't want to tell Sam, the princess, about it. So I'm assuming that Jeff made a move on Nina and that made her feel really uncomfortable. But she also was probably into it, based off of what she said. So she probably has a crush on this prince, but doesn't want to get too caught up with the court life. And my thought, based off of meeting Samantha and how she's kind of flippant and not as used to court life, my thought is that in the future Beatrice is going to fall in love with a commoner, and that's going to somehow make her want to abdicate, or step down from her place as crown princess, and that Samantha is going to have to step up and take that spot. And so that's going to completely flip the script on what they've expected. And that's just my prediction thus far, but we'll see. I am a little bit stupid. The prince's name is not Jeffrey, which I think I said in the last one. It's Jefferson. So there's that. Yep. Oops. So, this Daphne girl. I respect her ambition. I do, and her intelligence. I don't think I like her so far. That could change, but this chapter, this first chapter with Daphne, I think it's chapter 3, definitely confirms that I think Nina and Jefferson probably had like a little makeout session at his graduation thing while he was still dating Daphne. So that's also a lot of knocks in the Jefferson side. Like, I haven't met him yet, don't know anything about him really, but I'm not a fan of cheaters, and so don't know how much I'm going to enjoy his character as of right now. Daphne keeps mentioning that her parents don't know what she's already done in pursuit of the crown. She mentioned like somebody getting hurt at the beginning of the chapter. Don't remember who this person was, and we don't know anything else about them. But I'm assuming maybe she sabotaged someone, or someone was going to do something that was going to impact Jefferson, and so she like took it into her own hands, and then afterwards saw Jefferson with some girl, which happens to be Nina, pretty sure. And we'll see what that was. Page 36. This is Samantha's first full chapter. It says, Samantha knew that, Sam knew that none of it was Jeff's fault. Still, it was enough to make her wish she could change things. Not that she had the power to do so. They're just hinting that she's going to take over. It's a pretty early hint, I think. So, Teddy. I haven't finished the chapter yet, but the little banter that he and Sam have is pretty cute. I am a fan of this, and the fact he didn't introduce himself with his title, but rather his name. I like that too. Page 41, Sam is describing Beatrice's security detail, so thinking this is Connor. She describes him as being a tall, fierce-looking young man in uniform. Pretty sure I may have called it on the romance with the Connor thing, but we'll see. I know that I just said that I like Teddy, and like, I still think he's fine. Not fine, but like, fine, you know. But I'm not into this kiss, this like, let's just kiss for the heck of it. Like, I order you to kiss me or whatever. I don't know. I'm not into it. I totally called it with this whole Connor thing, and that was back before I even knew how old he was. So I'm pretty good. I do think that they're pretty cute based off of just this one chapter where he comes in to like check on her and help her finish getting ready. And she's kind of like goes over mentally how they kind of met and became friends. And I just think it's really cute, and I love that he's so supportive, and I mean, I know that's part of his job, but he seems to like actually care about her just from this one chapter, and maybe that's too soon to actually tell, but I'm a hopeless romantic in that way, so I like them together. And I'm proud of myself for kind of guessing which way the story was going to go before I actually had any inkling. Well, not too much to suspect, at least. Also, they're really building Beatrice up as being like a super rule follower, someone that doesn't step an inch out of line, and that's just kind of setting it up to be a bigger deal to everyone around when she ultimately decides to step down or give the throne to Samantha so that she can be with Connor. That's my prediction. So again, I admire Daphne's tenacity and her drive. I think it's really great. I don't know how I feel about her as a character yet, though. I like that she knows what she wants and she's driven to go after it, but I have a hard time with like the concept of human beings just being a means to an end. So her going after Jefferson, yes, they have history and they know a lot about one another, but at the end of the day, she's really just after his crown, not him as a person. So I don't respect her drive in that regard because it conflicts with my moral compass. And the fact that she's all upset about Jeff and this other girl, Nina. And then it sounds like she may have done something to her friend that's in the hospital still, that kind of caused the friend to be in the hospital. And this thing with Ethan, with this guy Ethan, that is Jefferson's best friend. Now, when Ethan first took over dancing with her so that she could kind of save face, I was like, okay, it'd be really cool if she could go through a huge character arc where she realizes that maybe the crown isn't all that, and she kind of shirks her original plans to go after the prince and realizes that she really just wants to be with Ethan, even though he doesn't come from any rich, titled background. And now it sounds like they actually did have a little fling where she might have cheated on Jefferson with him, or maybe it was before they were maybe before she and the prince were together. I don't really know, but either way, it sounds like Ethan, the best friend, and Daphne, neither of them have told Jefferson about this little thing that they had. So that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about the two of them together now. Just, I'm not sure if Ethan was kind of manipulating her towards the end of this chapter here, page 64-ish, and I have zero tolerance for manipulation. So I don't know how I feel about them yet, but I'm very suspicious and just don't enjoy her intentions. Jeff and Nina, these two, apparently made out while drunk at the graduation party. That's what the whole thing was. Like, they were drunk and then they started to make out, and then they went to his bedroom. And they didn't end up having, because she kind of put the brakes on it, but still. I don't know, okay, I don't remember if he was like intoxicated, but it was clear that she was intoxicated. So I'm just not a fan of that. I know it happens, but and the fact that Nina didn't know that he was going to break up with Daphne, and she still went for it too, knowing that he and Daphne were together. And he went for it, knowing that he and Daphne were together. I understand alcohol and hormones and all the things, but I'm still just not a fan of cheating. It bothers me. And then the fact that they just kissed again. Like, yes, there's nothing morally wrong with it this time. Like, he's not seeing anyone, but I don't know how I feel about it. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. He just seems like they've both made bad decisions, if that makes sense. But I'm still undecided at this moment on how I feel about the two of them. So Teddy and Beatrice are talking as she, is having to do her little rounds with all of her suitors. He's at least being very nice and actually asked about her instead of just talking and bragging about himself. So I like the contrast to her previous experience with the other potential suitors. They're talking about the portrait that Beatrice had to go look at for her class, and was saying like, oh, it's so nice of your family to, lend the portrait to this gallery, and he added that we sold that portrait, actually, he told her. But then he stiffened as if he regretted his words. So my thought is that his family might actually be experiencing some financial difficulties. But basically, like, his family are counting on him to marry into the royal family to probably save them from this financial situation. That was just like a weird little line that I noticed that kind of stuck out and made me think for a second, like, why is the reason for this being included? This girl, Beatrice, really had the audacity to ask Connor if he'd ever been in love. And when he said that he had, she said, I'm happy for you. And he said, you shouldn't be. And then she kind of like dismissed him and said like, this is none of your business. You can leave. Nah, man, this man is clearly talking about you. It's because it's with you. He's in love with you. And he can't be with you, and he's watching you literally go, like, set up dates with all these other guys. Of course he's not happy. Duh. Convenient fireworks blast is convenient and allows them to be really close for a second, enough to warrant a kiss. Convenient. And it's a firework, it's not like an actual bomb, which I momentarily thought it could be. So, is it cute a little bit? Yes. But it's still convenient, overly convenient. Completely unrelated to most of the plot and the characters, but like this bay window that's in Beatrice's closet sounds like the bay window / reading nook of my dreams, and I'm a little bit envious. Not of the fact that she's a crown princess, but of the potential for a nice reading nook. So Daphne just went to visit her friend Himari. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, but she went to go visit her in the hospital, and Girls in the Coma, we find out that they used to be really good friends, which I think I guessed before, it was like they were friends, but It sounds like they ended up becoming rivals or having some sort of rivalry when they both wanted Jefferson. My guess as to what happened, because they said that Himari fell down the stairs and something happened in that injury that made her fall into a coma. So my thought is that Himari wanted to be with Jefferson, and then when Daphne was with Jefferson, Himari got really jealous, and so Himari probably found out that Daphne had a thing with the Ethan guy, the best friend, and was going to use it against Daphne. And Daphne couldn't have that, so I'm assuming Daphne got desperate and just kind of pushed her, and then she fell down the stairs and coma. So Daphne has a lot of regrets about that. That's my thought. I'm hoping we learn a bit more about Himari's personality, because it sounds like Daphne was questioning whether they were actually really ever friends, or if Himari was just kind of playing a part, using her, whatever. So I'm hoping we learn a little bit more about that. But the more I read about Daphne, the more I'm kind of hoping that at the end of this, she ends up serving as some sort of royal advisor in the palace for Daphne or Samantha or somebody, and just using her talent, her intelligence. I don't know, she just understands the press, she understands the people. And I hope that she puts that to good use and is able to constructively use that in the palace. But we'll see. That's just my hope. So Sam and Jeff are out on their little date thing, and Jeff had them go to the sushi place, but it was too fancy, and so they ended up, oh, not Sam and Jeff. Ooh, no. No. Cancel that. Nina and Jeff. Yeah. None of that. Anyways, man, I'm really struggling with these names. There's no reason for that. But they are at the cute little place where they're gonna get some dessert. Jeff was remarking on the fact that Nina was getting the double M&Ms, and he asked if Nina and Sam were still trying to sample M&Ms from around the world, and then asked if they had succeeded. And Nina said that they hadn't succeeded yet because it turns out the world's really big and there's a lot of M&Ms to try. And it says that, like, Jeff looked thoughtful. So my prediction is that in a gesture of romance and in knowing her, he's gonna try and buy a pack of M&Ms from everywhere around the world to share with her, and then they're gonna try it together. I'm kind of ashamed by how much I enjoy the prince dating a commoner trope, you know, where they like fall in love and everything's peachy keen, because I really dig it and it's cute. And Jeff actually seems pretty sweet in his dealings thus far, well, based off of this date, not all of it. They've made other mistakes, but this date was really cute, and I really like how he treats her, and he seems to genuinely care about Nina, and she seems to genuinely care about him. And I gotta be honest though, I know they've had a lot of years to get to know one another, but I'm surprised by how fast they are moving in their relationship. I don't know. I just feel like I would have expected there to be more pining and like more time before Nina caved and went on a date with him. I'm not upset by it, but I just would have probably expected it to take longer. And they're kissing a lot now. Like, okay. Nothing wrong with it. Just is surprising to me, because usually I feel like this trope kind of drags it along a little bit longer. Duh. Just saying the same things over and over again, but you get the picture. Love this trope though. They literally sat Teddy right in between Beatrice and Sam at this theater. Very direct, clear in the point. He's stuck between them. But I don't think that he like actually would choose Beatrice if given the chance. I think he's being pushed towards it by his parents. He definitely shows more interest in Samantha and is just kind of polite and courteous to Beatrice. But he's stuck in the middle, and the girls, well, Samantha's obviously not happy. And Beatrice is aware that something's up, but she's clueless. She has no reason to understand what's going on, but still. Nina needs to come clean to Sam about her little thing with Jeff ASAP, because this can only end in disaster if she doesn't tell her best friend that she's dating her brother. I can't decide if Ethan knows what he's doing or if he's an idiot, because he just told Daphne that he thinks that Jeff is seeing someone, and he could have left it at that, right? He could have just left it at that. But he specified that he thinks that there's something between Jeff and Nina. Of course, that means that Daphne's gonna go on a rampage, probably to try to ruin this girl's whole life. even if Jeff and Nina weren't together, Daphne would probably try to ruin her life. So like, I understand that he could have been trying to tell Daphne to back off, like as a courtesy thing, like, hey, you should probably just stop trying so hard because he's actually with somebody else already. I get that. He could totally have done that. But I don't know. After knowing Daphne for this long and for the way that he's been confronting her about her behavior in the past, you would think that he knows what kind of person she is and that she's gonna just go straight for Nina like nobody's business. I just think that he could have handled that situation a little bit better. I'm hoping, but I'm not optimistic, that Daphne will actually handle this new information well, and hopefully Jeff and Nina come out and tell everybody the news about their relationship before Daphne can tell everyone for them. But Beatrice is stranded and is unable to make it to the little mountain cabin area because of weather, which means that she'll probably be stuck with Connor for a night, probably at like a hotel or something outside of town. And my prediction is that things are going to come to a head. They're finally going to talk about their whole little unsaid thing that they have going on, that they've kissed multiple times but still don't talk. And they're going to work out their issues, and they're probably going to kiss some more. Because snowed in mountain cabin. Of course, that's what's got to happen, right? Called it. Winter cabin, snowed in, recipe for disaster, and romance. So I'm actually a bit concerned about the king's health, because earlier on when he was on a run with Sam, I think it mentioned that he was getting out of breath and so he had to slow down. And then they keep mentioning like that he suddenly looks older than they remembered. They, as in like Sam and Beatrice, have both mentioned it. And right now, page 180 in the mountain lodge, right after, well, Sam and Jeff are excited because they're snowed in, which means that the skiing is going to be really good. But she said that her dad would normally have joined them on their little mountain ski trip, but that he instead is not. Wait, hold on, let me see. He says that he'll let the kids have the mountain to themselves that day. But Sam says that he looks a little bit tired and that she sees fine lines and a slump to his shoulders. So I'm concerned that he might have some health issues that they don't know about yet. Just like snowed-in cabin scenes, hot tubs are notorious for bad decisions in romance. So here we are with Sam getting Samantha equivalent of what Beatrice just experienced. It is a new day and I am picking up where I left off. Okay, so Sam and Teddy are in the hot tub and they're chatting, and it's been a pretty productive time thus far. Didn't get to finish the chapter, so gonna continue that now. I called it. So I don't even know what happens after this, but I just got to the line on page 189 and Teddy is telling Sam that there's certain expectations of him as well, not just because of his name and title and who his family is, but also because his family has lost their fortune. I called it, and I'm just happy about it. Do I win a prize? No. But like, I'm just happy. Also, I'm really happy that Samantha is having some empathy for her sister, and realizing a little bit more of the pressure that she's under, and also that her sister's not trying to steal this guy that she likes from her, you know? Yeah. Also, before I move on past the end of the hot tub scene between Sam and Teddy, honestly, I'm just really disappointed about it. It was going so well. They were having like an intellectual connection, an emotional connection, and then they just had to ruin it with cheating. Cheating. Words. Why did that? I don't know if that came out all the way. Called it again. Connor was definitely talking about Beatrice when he was saying that he had loved someone before. Beatrice's dad has stage 4 lung cancer. And that's why he's been all weird. So I guess that he would be sick, right? I guess he would be sick. I didn't expect that they would give him only a few months to live. That really sucks. I don't wish cancer on anybody. So I'm really enjoying this little talk that Beatrice and the king are having together, and how he's saying that he doesn't expect her to be a perfect monarch because all of the monarchs have made mistakes. They start talking about slavery and how George Washington the First in this, he knew that slavery was wrong, but he didn't end up abolishing it, and then it wasn't abolished as an institution until 2 generations later. Beatrice and her dad are talking about it and how it's sad that it wasn't taken care of then. And Beatrice says that she wishes that she could just erase all of the sad parts of the past, the mistakes of the past monarchs in the United States. And her father says, never say that you just want to get rid of everything in the past, but say that you want to make things right, to build a better future. But erasing the past, or worse, trying to rewrite it, is the tool of despots. Only by engaging with the past can we avoid repeating it. And I really like that. Only by engaging with the past can we avoid repeating it. We need to take what's happened in the past and learn from it and be committed to growing and bettering ourselves. Learn from the mistakes so that we don't make the same ones again. We all are going to make mistakes, but the thing is, are we going to make the same mistakes that have already been made before, or are we going to make new ones? I just like the focus on acknowledging the past, the mistakes, the darkness, but not letting it rule you, and not trying to just pretend it never happened, because that doesn't solve anything. Instead, trying to learn from the past and grow from it going forward. And I think that's really cool to get to see a father-daughter conversation about this, but also like between current monarch and future monarch. Like, no one's expecting Beatrice to be perfect, or at least the king isn't. It's just how you learn and grow from your mistakes and the mistakes of the past, and how you implement changes as a result that's going to matter, and that's going to be the legacy. And there we have it. Daphne's Revenge has started. I don't know if it's done. Yeah, she got pictures of Nina and Jeff together and released them to the press right next to a really great article about her. So, I mean, it's smart, but still sucks. Yeah, I feel really bad for Nina to suddenly be thrust into the spotlight and to be having every little bit about her scrutinized. I can't even imagine what that's like. And I know that celebrities deal with it all the time, but she was not seeking that. I'm not even saying that it's right for people to treat celebrities in the way that Nina's being treated, and harassed and bullied, but she was purposefully trying to avoid this attention. And I think that just makes it all the worse that she has to go through it now. At least her moms are really supportive, and even though they may not be on the same page on what her next step should be in regards to palace life, they really love her, and I think that's obvious and evident. So I'm happy she has that support in her corner, and hope that she can deal with the Jeff and Samantha conversations soon. There has been so much drama. So Beatrice proposed to Teddy. Teddy said yes, and then she thought it was a good idea to just not tell Connor. And I get it, like, you want to put off having a hard conversation with someone as long as you can sometimes. But, like, you just know that's a bad idea from the get-go, right? You just know that that's going to blow up in your face and that it can't end well. And then, to the Nina side of things, Nina had been avoiding Sam and Jeff both, and then Sam went to go talk to Nina, and they both blew up on one another, and Nina kind of just accused Sam of being a bad friend. And Sam had just freaked out because she found out about the engagement, is mad that Beatrice is getting married to Teddy when she still likes him. And Sam went and ranted to Beatrice about, like, oh, I like him, so why are you getting engaged to him? And Beatrice kept it together and just kind of dealt with it. I think she's just numb to the whole situation. There's just a lot of drama right now. And I know it will get resolved in some way by the end of this book, and I understand the drama is needed to progress the plot, but there's like a lot of drama, and with there being so many different narrators and main characters, it just feels like an exorbitant amount. And I'm ready for it to kind of chill, or at least some of the problems to solve themselves. Well, not solve themselves, because that's not how problems work in the real world, but just be addressed by the characters. It is about time. Also, Connor's little impromptu proposal to Beatrice was really adorable and really heartbreaking. And I totally understand where Beatrice is coming from with having to say, or feeling like she must say no. I totally get it. But it still sucks because that was adorable. And you could tell when you contrast the difference between how he proposed to her versus how Teddy was responding to her proposal, just the difference in relationships and how these guys care about her. Teddy really respects her for who she is and for being the future queen, and he's pledging his loyalty to her in that capacity. But they both had an understanding that it wasn't anything romantic or of that nature. Whereas with Connor, he was saying, like, look, I have nothing to offer you in the way of money or political advantage or anything, but like, I give you my entire heart, my whole loyalty. And it was just so genuine and cute instead of just very like proper and political and I don't know, just practiced. It was just so genuine. And I was so sad about how their talk ended, although he was totally in the right to be upset about what she was asking him to do, in that she was wanting him to stay on and kind of still be in a relationship with her, but in secret the whole time, and that's just not fair to him. I'm on his side for his reaction to that, totally. But it's still sad, and it was an adorable moment that was ruined by just the circumstances. Finally, something has gotten sort of resolved, and that is the Jeff-Nina relationship. Nina has finally decided that yes, she wants to date Jeff. He was really sweet, and he showed up at this frat party and brought her the milkshake that she loves with extra M&Ms, or double M&Ms? Double M&Ms. And I just thought that gesture was really adorable. But yeah, so they've at least, for now, decided to deal with all of the public pressure and still be in a relationship. I support it. I think they're cute. I'm in a Daphne chapter now. And Daphne is talking about how she doesn't feel the least bit upset about what she did and how it impacted Nina. So the tip-off of them being in a relationship that led to all of the coverage and the crazy media uproar. Daphne says that Nina had brought this down on herself by going after the prince when everyone knew he belonged to Daphne. And I just hate that Daphne's even thinking that another human belongs to her. That is disgusting on so many levels, and it infuriates me. Finally, Samantha and Beatrice got to have a little sister bonding moment where they were honest with one another. Samantha was honest about her feelings for Teddy with Beatrice, and Beatrice just flat out came out and said that her father was dying, which obviously hit Samantha hard, but they're on the same page now, and it was really cool to see them actually having a genuine conversation with one another for the first time in who knows how long, having that common ground. It was just really refreshing, and I love a good bit of like supportive girl friendship or just like a strong bond between women. I just love seeing that, and it's good that their sibling relationship is mending a little bit, and that distance that they've felt for so long is kind of shrinking. Now Sam is talking with her dad and talking about how he gets letters from the people and he tries to read and respond to at least 2 every day. They're talking about how he still receives criticism for some of his actions. He said that criticism is a good thing. It means you've fought for something. The only people free from censure are people who've never taken a stand. And I just really like that. When I make a decision, I try to think out all of the eventualities and make a decision that's going to have obviously the best result, but often I can overthink it so much that I won't take any risk. And so with this talking about like getting a little bit of pushback, they've probably taken some risk that some people enjoyed and some people did not enjoy the payoff from the risk or the decision or whatever it might be. But it means that they did something, impacted them enough to have an opinion on it. Just thought-provoking for me. It makes me want to overthink a little bit less and be okay with receiving some criticism or pushback from time to time. It's official. I think that the King's character is one of my favorite. Well, my favorite in this story. and I'm really sad that he doesn't have a bigger role. Whenever he's having this one-on-one time with his daughters, you can just tell that he genuinely cares about them. In this last chapter, he was talking with Sam, and Sam was going to confront him about his illness, and in the end, it just ended up being a really great introspective conversation between Sam and her father. And I really just loved how he appreciated Samantha's differences and how they make her strong and unique and special, and how they, in their own way, add to the monarchy and the family dynamic. I just really liked it. I thought it was really cute. And the ways that he talked about her being able to support Beatrice going forward, I thought was really great. Let me see. He talked about her being a people person, and to be honest, like, the ways that he described her good qualities are helpful to me as a reader, because I have not really been connecting with Samantha's character that much. And so to hear a little bit more context on her character from someone who's seen it her whole life, I don't know, it just gives me a little bit more context for her character and more sympathy for her actions. 'Cause I don't know, she's just kind of, to me, come across as a little bit childish. Not in a bad way. Like, I totally understand she's had her own identity struggles in trying to figure out who she is in relation to the crown, and being compared endlessly to her brother and sister, and I can't even imagine what it's like to have that many expectations placed upon you from such a young age. But this just helped me to celebrate who she is as a unique character more, and I liked it. Let me see, there was a certain bit that the king was talking about. I also like this part. There are many ways to be smart, Sam. It isn't just books and memorization. It's wisdom and patience and understanding people, which is something you've always been able to do. Not to mention that Beatrice will be surrounded by I don't know how to say that word. By people that are telling her what they want to hear. Yeah, so it's basically just like, there are different ways to be smart, and the king is really celebrating her people smarts, her emotional intelligence, in addition to traditional, what is considered to be intelligence and book smarts. And I just really like that he's celebrating these qualities about his daughters and talking up their strengths. It definitely made Samantha more relatable, which the king even talked about, that she's just very relatable and people can relate to her. And after what he said, I would agree a little bit more than I would have prior. So Daphne's a jerk. I predict that she might show up in the dress that Nina wanted to wear to this engagement party, and it'll be a real slap in the face. But I really am hoping that this does push Nina to reconcile with Sam, and that it helps to fix their friendship. So Beatrice and Teddy have called off the engagement, but only in private. So Sam went and told Teddy, and they had another little makeout sesh reminiscent of their very first time meeting in the closet. And Beatrice went to tell her dad. That's kind of what I want to talk about, is this conversation between Beatrice and her dad. So I wish that he would have been more supportive of her choice, just because that's kind of, I don't know, the character that I would have expected him, based on how his character has been built up, I would have thought that he would have been a little bit more supportive and understanding. Now, the reasonings that he gave for, not everyone is up to this task of being a royal. It takes a special type of person, and usually they've been raised from birth to know what kind of pressure they're going to be under. Totally understand that also. I wish he would have gone slightly different, just for Beatrice's sake. But I still get it. And then also, just putting myself in his shoes. If I were a parent and my kid, who was young, just came out of nowhere and just said that they were in love with someone and wanted to throw away everything that they've ever worked towards for this person, as much as I want to say that I would be completely supportive, I also know that I would question that, and probably I would still support my kid, but I would definitely try to encourage them to think critically about the situation. So he kind of talked about, what about if Connor grows to hate you someday for this. Like, you're in love now, but what if someday that love turns to hate and he doesn't feel the same way and he starts to resent the parts that are royal about you? I think those are fine questions, just to get her to take the time to think. Because she does seem a little bit, not thoughtless, reckless. Reckless is the word I was looking for. So she seems a little bit reckless, so I can appreciate him trying to get her to take a breath and think. But I'm still just sad that he was just flat out like, no. I would have preferred if he could give his reasonings in a logical manner, be supportive of her still, and say like, okay, well, I love you, and this isn't going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of pushback, but let's see how this goes. I know my prediction from the beginning of the book was that Beatrice was stepped down or whatever from the throne so that Sam could take up the mantle. I kind of hope, I think it's a thin hope, like there's not, it's a little bit far-fetched, but I'm still kind of hoping at this point that my prediction is incorrect. I hope that Beatrice becomes queen because I think that would be really cool to get to see that change, like the first female queen, not queen consort, as well as being married to a commoner for the first time and getting to navigate that. Beatrice is so smart and she would be a great queen. And I know they've built Sam up to also, she has the people skills and the relatability, and she'd be her own type of queen. And then she'd be with Teddy. So I know that also makes sense. But at the same time, I'm kind of hoping that Beatrice gets to stay being queen. Maybe I'm biased. But I think she'd be a great queen. And it seems silly for her to have to give that up just for this sake. But we shall see. We're almost to the end. Hoping that her dad pulls through this little coughing fit that's not so little and he's coughing up blood. Well, that is it. I have finished American Royals. The ending was sad. I'm really sad that the king died. It also sounded like he was about to give Beatrice his blessing to pursue Connor instead of Teddy, right before he coughed too much that he could no longer talk. And so now she's gonna do the whole thing where she, again, predictions, where she feels like she has to continue on with Teddy, but that's going to hurt her sister and Connor and herself, and it's just going to be a struggle. Basically, this book had just an abrupt ending where nothing was resolved, and so you need to have a sequel in order for it to have any sort of resolution. I need to think about it a little bit more. Overall, it was an enjoyable read. I am not a huge fan of when a book ends with no resolutions of any kind. Just when things started to seem like they were looking up and things were starting to make a bit more sense. Beatrice was standing up for herself, and Sam was happy, Teddy was happy, Connor was happy, Nina and Jeff were happy. Well, they were happy and then they weren't real quick, but it was a good book overall. I'm just dissatisfied with the ending. That's all. If you have made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking around. You are a real one. And thanks for bearing with me as I learn. I hope you enjoyed watching my reactions half as much as I enjoyed reading the book. It was a lot of fun, and again, if you are looking for a reaction video, then go ahead and check out the one that I linked down below. And I hope to see you again in my next video. Have a good day. Bye!